We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because they hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3CGM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and we're joined by David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
Oh, my gosh. A Monday, starting the week, ending the week, discombobulated. Don't have room for a great open. Can't think of things. I'm not ready yet. It's first thing Monday. There's only been 4 shots of espresso instead of 40 by Friday. I can't rise to the occasion of the greatness of DJ and PK on a Monday.
Are you set on who you think you would want, and do you think that the Jazz are still ongoing, still being tossed about?
I am not set. I am assuming the Jazz are set at this point.
Oh, okay.
I waver regularly. I waver on who should be the first pick. I waver on how much I like each guy, how much their weaknesses bother me. I would say that's actually probably what changes the most for me personally day to day is like a weakness, and then you start worrying about it. And so I don't – the idea that Cameron Boozer should be the number 1 pick of the draft, which is like every analytics department viewpoint, and I get closer to that every day, frankly. Let me ask you guys the question. Who helps you win more? This is my podcast today. Who helps you win more?
What's your definition of timeline for win?
I mean, win more basketball games.
Today,
you win
in 26, 27, or 30, 31? Because I think that could be 2 different answers.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. But let's see if we can cumulatively answer that question, like over the stretch of the next 5 to 6 years, which player wins more basketball games?
Oh, that's a different question than which guy has a team in the NBA Finals by the time he's 25, 26, 27. Which one of these guys is most likely to be the best player in an NBA Finals team in 6, 7, 8 years?
Okay, so that's an interesting. Like we're dancing on 2 different levels here.
Yep.
You're dancing in like the upper 1% of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Right.
On purpose.
Yeah, and I'm dancing on more of like, I got to play 82 games for the next 6 years with this guy. And who's going to give me 5 extra wins every year because of the way he plays, which gets me in the and so
if I were drafting,
those are 2 very different.
I know.
Those are 2 very different questions.
But if I'm drafting 10th, if I'm drafting 10th or 15th, I'm doing what you are. But I'm drafting 2nd. And this is a rare chance to take a big swing. So I'm thinking different than I'm drafting 10 or 15. I'm thinking the way you are. But I'm drafting 2, so I'm thinking different.
Well, I actually think Cameron's the biggest. Cameron might be my answer to both these questions. I think the biggest upside is Cameron Boozer becomes a ball-handling, point-forward initiator of the offense. I don't know that he's good enough to do this, but you're taking a swing. I'm not sure his handle's really that good, and I'm not sure he really can get low enough to do this, because if you have a high dribble, it's hard to do. But that's his big swing, is that he's Cade Cunningham at 6'10", and he's your point guard, and he's initiating half of his possessions on the floor every night. And the other half, he's setting the pick and rolling to the mid post, and he's making a play off the free throw line on a mid roll. And then another set of possessions, he's pinning a point guard down on the post, and he's just a force. He's just an incredible force. AJ's is that he shoots the 3. That AJ can shoot 37, 38% from 3 with his ability to pull up in the mid-range, and he's an unstoppable offensive player. Those 2 have the biggest upside. I don't think Peterson's upside is as high as these other guys. Caleb Wilson's upside's really interesting too, frankly. sometimes I do all this stuff and I circle back to Caleb Wilson that if it all comes back together, then, but he's a when and an if a little bit more. But if his when and if happens, it's pretty beautiful. So maybe it's, maybe Boozer's answer to both these questions. I think Boozer might help you win more games. Like, Boozer might just win you more games, just the way he plays. He might be the better player for 44 minutes, and he's not the best player for the final 4 minutes. But the 44 minutes might matter more. Well, by definition, they do, actually.
Yeah, you use the word might there 4 times, so that causes some level of concern. The thing that I find fascinating in this is that here we are on the precipice of this draft, and there is not a consensus number one. And it seems to me like last year and then a couple years back with Wembanyama and Flag, there was a consensus number one. And I'm wondering, are these players really all that cracked up that they're to be or supposed to be or will be? Because if they were, somebody would be a consensus number one. We can't have 3 superstars right at the top of the draft. I mean, you're big on history and what analytics say. Well, I don't know that that's happened. And so that causes me a little concern that there is, at this point, not necessarily, at least publicly, a consensus, not necessarily unanimous, because consensus and unanimous are 2 different things, but there's not an obvious number one pick. Like last year, Cooper Flag, the Michigan coach is going to leave to go coach the Dallas Mavericks because Cooper Flag is there. And so I'm wondering if that is a little bit of a concern that someone has not separated, or maybe this is the one-time fluke where there's going to be 3 great stars or 4 great stars. You put in Wilson there.
I think that's fair. And I don't know which it is, but you're right. So the only draft ever that's had 2 MVPs in the top 4 is the Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook draft. There's actually almost never been a draft. There's been one draft, I think, ever where the top 4 picks, there's an MVP, a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. Every other draft in the history of the league, basically, one of the top 4 players doesn't pan out. And more often than not, you have like a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. So maybe this is a little better that we get it. You do get an MVP candidate. Like, that's where they come from. Like, the MVP candidates, Kate Cunningham was an MVP candidate this year a little bit, right?
Sure.
Jaylen Brown was an MVP candidate this year. He's top 3 pick. Like, those are, they weren't MVPs, but they were that's their caliber. And those are top 3 picks. They get that. So you're right. And I think there is a little bit. Like, I have my worst case, like, my concern on all 3 is really real. Like, let me just ask you guys, you've watched it more than I have. Is A.J. DeBonta going to shoot better than 35 or 36% from 3 in the NBA?
I'd say no.
Okay, then he's a real problem. He's not actually just not as good as we want. He's actually an anchor to your offense. You cannot find an efficient offensive player who's going to use 15 or more. You cannot find an offensive player in the NBA who uses 15 or more possessions, who shoots below 35% from 3, who's offensively efficient. It doesn't happen. You can't do it. I don't care how many free throws you shoot. That's if he can't shoot 35% from 3, he's my 4th pick of the top 4. If you're really comfortable with that, then he is. I mean, they're 20-point a game scorers, but they're anchors to their offense. So that's to your point that someone hasn't separated. Like, if we knew AJ was going to shoot 35 or 36% from 3, he would have separated. And the odds wouldn't be heading back the other direction, right? He was minus 500 as the number 1 pick. He's now minus 425. I'm going to guess he's below minus 400 by the end of today.
Yeah, I get your point.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana. Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Do you think Peterson is only working out for one team because he knows Washington is going to take him, or is he only working out for one team because he's trying to send a message to Washington? Obviously, I'm the number one pick, and you should take me.
I think it's the second. What? So first of all, like AJ, everyone's shocked by not everyone's shocked, but AJ did an interview with I think Quentin Richardson or someone like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't go work out for these teams. I just go visit the cities. Like it wasn't like Darren Peterson was going to go get on the floor and do a bunch of work when he came to Utah. So I don't know actually what the point if they've already met with Darren in Chicago, and the point would be to show him the city and make him think that the city's okay. Well, if he doesn't think the city's okay, you're still drafting him. So I'm not sure it really matters, right?
Right.
And I'm from his agent standpoint, I'm not entirely sure what they gain by him coming to visit. Right? I don't think if I was Darren Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited Utah either. It just looks like I'm accepting that I could be the number 2 pick. I don't gain anything from the visit. They're not going to not take me or take me. I'm not giving them more medicals. The league now has rules on what you have to do at the combine. I did that. I'm not going to do more. So I actually don't know what the value of coming to visit Utah is. So I just think it's like it's a good headline. It carried a bunch of clicks for a while. But I think and I get it. I'm not criticizing anyone for making it a headline, and we all talked about it. But it's not. And if it's L.A., he probably comes and visits because then he gets 3 days in L.A. I don't know. But it's it's just a non-impactful issue. Because it wasn't like he was getting on the floor and doing a draft workout when, Donovan did his draft workout with 5 other guys and he torched them all, and you knew Donovan was special. If he was doing anything, it was going to be against a chair. But he wasn't going to do that. And they weren't going to get to see anything that really gave them an understanding of who he was as a player.
Then if he's available, the Jazz would have no problem drafting him if they think he's the best player available.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And so his visit doesn't really matter at all.
I don't think so.
And it doesn't matter for either side, actually.
Right.
I don't think the Jazz are bothered that he didn't visit. And if I was Darren Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited.
If I'm Adam Silver, I'm glad he didn't visit because that made news. It made clicks. People were talking about the NBA.
Right. And it adds drama to the hour before the show this
Precisely.
week.
And it's going to bring in more viewers.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't going to watch the draft.
Crazy,
now I'm going to watch it.
We don't really know we have this high-quality players. We don't really know who's the number 1 pick. We don't really know who the number 2 pick is either. We kind of had this a little bit in the Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith draft, but I don't know that but they aren't as good of players. Or at least they weren't projected to be as good of players.
Right.
And there is this little wild card that, if the Jazz drafted Caleb Wilson second, it's a stunner, but it's not out of the realm of possibility at all.
I think it is.
I mean, if go back to our first question, you guys when I asked who helps you win more, you asked when. You can make a real argument that he's the best player in 4 years.
I think why we're doing that is because he had the furthest to come. Is that these kids started getting hyped at 15 and 16. By 17, it's like their draft position is almost cemented. Are they going to go top 5 or not? And Wilson had longer to go, and he wasn't there when he was 16, so he becomes more intriguing. He's more of a mystery, and because of that mystery, that leads to the intrigue. Well, maybe, and he's 6'10", and he's athletic, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if we just flipped him, and it was DeBonsa who had longer to go, we'd be saying the same things about DeBonsa.
Right. But that might be why you draft him.
Maybe so.
Here's the biggest thing I would say. We're doing 90% of our conversation on their college year, and I would say it's probably 30% of the evaluation.
Oh, I agree. We were talking about this earlier, DJ and I, where I said the Darren Peterson thing is he came in as the number 1 pick before the season, and so everybody and their dog that has his ear is telling him, you need to sit, you need to protect the investment. Whereas if he was Acuff or the kid from Houston or whatever, he's out on the floor. But no, he can't afford to drop in the stats. Too much money at stake, and he's making too much money. Jay Drew had a story in the Deseret News yesterday about Ace DeBonce's father, the spiel on Father's Day, and he quit his job when the kid was 16 years old because he's making money. It's all about investment and stuff. It's not about playing in the 35 games into college. Who gives a crap about that?
Right. So we're evaluating all these college. I'm doing it too. The fact of the matter is that the Jazz have watched these guys for 4 years. And they're, and that's those are the games. All this matters as much as everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the dad aspect of all this stuff is a little crazy, right? Like, I mean, it's clear that like everyone's invested, and I get it. Like, it's a lot of money, and if I was a dad, I guess I would be too. Sure. But it is like, you do wonder, like we've seen the parents destroy, I saw Robert Swift, and that was very well publicly. And there was another player I saw who was not as public. So I'm not going to throw his parents under the bus right now, but like his dad was a real problem. Like, his dad literally sat front row across from the team and then literally had a meeting with his player after his son, after every home game about what he thought was right and wrong. It's super problematic. Like the idea that we think that Darren Peterson's dad or AJ DeBonce's dad is not going to be heavily involved in their kid in every way, considering how heavily they've been all involved at this point. Well, I don't know what that impact is.
All right, before we go, do you have any final pronouncements? Anything you want to say and get on the record so you can say I was right, I knew it, or there's just too much doubt out there and we'll just find out when they make the pick?
My 3 takeaways sitting here at this moment. If you want the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think he is the one who has you talk about the big swing, I get the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think Peterson has the smallest differential between his ceiling and his floor. And AJ's shooting is not an additive, it's a necessity.
We'll leave it right there, David. We appreciate it as always. Even on a Monday, if you've only had four espressos instead of 40, we'll still take it.
All right. Talk to you Friday, hopefully. Then my life will be complete.
Exactly. Thank you, David.
See you.
It's David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz.
All leads to all sorts of intrigue. I wonder, do the Jazz have the guts to take Boozer? Because if they don't take DeBonce and he blows up, they're going to get so much blowback. And they can say, we don't care. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else, blah, 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 blah. We all know the cliches.
But nonetheless.
Yeah. And you had a kid who was somewhat of a hometown product.
Yeah. Right down the road. You had a whole year to get to know him. There's a massive loophole in the rules for NBA people who got to keep everything at arm's length, and there's all kinds of – but no, it's your alma mater, and you can be there.
They all knew
he
was going to BYU.
Yeah.
They didn't turn on the TV at ESPN like we did. I mean, because he had told KY weeks earlier, and I'm sure they told each other and blah, 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 blah. And so, to me – DeBonce is the safe pick. This is the safest pick, if he's available, obviously, and you're not trading Ace Bailey to get him. But if he's available, he's the safest pick.
Peterson 1, DeBonce 2, Boozer 3, Caleb 4, and then the real draft begins.
Then who likes the best
of the
guards.
smaller guards?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And Peterson's a guard, but he's bigger than these other guys.
Right.
The grill is shot. The chairs are held together by optimism. And what happened to the rug? Sounds like your outdoor setup is not ready for patio season. Fix it all with Wayfair. Shop Wayfair for grills, rugs, furniture, and more. With 20 million 5-star reviews, room of choice delivery, and expert setup on qualifying orders, it's never been easier to do more for less. Get 10% off your first eligible purchase. Hurry to wayfair.com or download the app now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because they hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3C GM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms and readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.